Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Canadian Rational Investors Bitcoin summary for today is Tuesday, July 15th, 2014. We're halfway through July. Wow, this month sure flew by. You can really feel the summer doldrums starting to kick in. So, to that end, we'll probably be relatively quiet here for the next little bit. But having said that, let's get onto the charts and see what they have to say. So here we are on our daily price chart for Bitcoin on the BTCE, and of course the reason why I'm using BTCE is because I'm doing the PAM service, and we've talked lots about that of late, so go back and listen to previous videos if you want to learn more about that. We won't go through the big story. I mean, we all know the OTE short zone sitting up top, and this was the big daily OTE long zone down below. So really, I would argue market's probably range bound between a low of about $400 and a high of about $800 for the foreseeable future. I really don't see that changing too much. If we break that down a little bit closer, we can see that the rally off of these 340 lows, we hit upside targets. We ran into some pretty big traffic zones. We're just consolidating right now. You can see we came back to the 38.2 on the downside. So really, and I've said this recently, markets caught within an even smaller, probably the better part of about $100 price range right at the moment. And here's our uptrend off of these lows. And so you can see how the market is really playing with that right now. Frankly, I don't think anybody knows for certain which way this is going to resolve. And anybody who does tell you that they know is, in my opinion, full of horse hockey. The way I would simply say it is, you trade your setups, and if the setups work, great, you make 2-to-1 risk reward minimum. If they don't work, well, you get stopped out and on to the next setup. So as it stands off of the daily chart, really, my attitude is, we're just consolidating, and any sort of strategies at the moment should probably just be taking advantage of this range trade. We got a bunch of moving averages here. We've got this big fat trend line. So not a big surprise that we've got a bit of support here. For me to start getting super bearish, I'm going to have to see the market close below all these moving averages and the trend lines, and then ultimately break this 38.2. We'll see how that goes. Way too early to start commenting on that setup at the present. Just quickly looking at momentum and volume here, nothing really to write home about. Willie, basically consolidating above the 50 line, so that's, generally bullish. And just sort of wishy-washying here. A little concerned that MACD momentum on the dailies, we are still working this massive bearish divergence here. So we had higher highs here, but lower highs here, and then we confirmed that on the move down through this low here. Until we can get MACD to put in some sort of bottom and establish a trend higher, I don't see any great momentum push either way. And then lastly, we'll look at volume here. We can see off of the lows, nice bottom, beautiful saucer bottom through this inverted head and shoulders. Big run up, and now we're just, again, consolidating. Are we going to break higher? Are we going to break lower? And you can see the volume bars themselves have just really trailed off here. And so, as a broker, we used to call this period usually first, second week of July through to Labor Day weekend. We call it the summer doldrums, and things can often go very, very quiet into that event. So, par for the course. That's basically what I see here. Zooming in on the 4 hours, we'll look a little closer. Here is that trading range. Here's that 38.2 here. Here's our old highs. You can see at the moment, maybe we'll highlight this for you a little bit more. Basically, the market's caught in this massive wedge at the present. I don't see any great, breakout potential here. Here what I do see is we basically had a nice downward slide. We've had a dead cat bounce off of 38.2. We put in this triple top here, and now we're just slowly working our way lower. If we close below this low here, 603.70, then that sets up this massive bearish ABCD pattern, which just so happens to coincide with the optimal trade entry long sweet spot and also this big fat trend line. So, if I was a betting man and somebody said, Brian, what do you think's going to happen? And I was forced to sort of say, okay, I think this is going to happen. My hunch is that we got to work our way down into this area. Any real messages from volume or momentum here? Not really, unfortunately. I mean, we had this sort of bottom come out here. We had a lower low on these momentum bars, so we had a bullish momentum divergence that was confirmed here. We did have a nice rally off of this double bottom. That was a 50% retrace of this entire move. We'll get to that on the hourly charts in a second. And momentum just promptly rolled over, and in fact, when momentum did roll over here, I had posted this little note that this was dangerous, and sure enough, we've cascaded our way back lower here. I would like to see some sort of double bottoming action. I would like to see Willie down here in the stupidly oversold condition. My hunch is it's going to take a price move back below 600 to get all that to happen. And right now it's just a big hurry up and wait. Same thing on volume. We do have, we had a top that came off of, this is interesting because, quite often, volume levels are set by institutions. So you can see how when the market was running up here, there was a huge battle up here and a big failure in volume, and we rolled back over. So I just sort of mentally made a note of that level. What does volume, how does price act when volume, OBV in particular, get to this level? And so what I noticed here is out of this whole counter trend rally off of the 38.2 tag, all we could do volume-wise was just get back to this original topping level. You see that, how we have this high here and this high here. So, volume-wise, we haven't, what I think happened was probably, sellers came out and dumped here. Price got back down into these lows here, and then volume-wise, they just cleaned back up. They covered all their shorts, and that brought volume right back to its original level. No real resolution yet, more consolidation. We do have a bit of a double bottom working here, so we'll see how this plays out. But for the time being, it's kind of just a hurry up and wait. Summer doldrums. Your best strategy right now is just to exercise a whole bunch of patience. All right, so looking at the very short term, here is the hourly chart. And, off of the highs, this is, we had talked about this being a bat target up here on the 4 hours. You can see this was this bat target right here. So if we zoom in, there's that high there. And what I noticed was price was sort of heading down into this channel. We never traded down to the bottom of the channel, thank heavens, and so the top of the channel actually is a significant line right now. And then conversely, off of this high here, and then off of this next low, that set up an interesting trend line, and you can see how the market's working off of that trend line as well. So what I see is, and I like to leave the most recent setups on the chart just so that you can see that, a lot of them do work, but every once in a while we get a clunker that fails. So you can see how we had a long setup here, a bot, and it failed and we got stopped out. And basically market's just chopped away sideways here. So that's for your reference. All right, so what do we have here? Here's the OTE off of just this low here, this 555 low. So this 548 area sure is jumping out to me in the short term. If we did get that, that would be a sweet spot tag. That would be right down along this trend line here, which to me seems perfectly realistic. And then, of course, as we said, if we're looking at the 4 hours, if we do get that move down into the 588 area, that would basically be 61.8 tag right there, 587. That brings us back down to this major trend line here. So put it all together, and I guess that would be this line off of this low here. I circled sort of like where I thought market was going to go to, for the reference of these videos, and I still have this big, fat, ugly circle here. So, basically that's what I'm watching for. Now, having said that, here's this uptrend line. We have a very wide action here, right? So the top of this trading range is basically the OTE short zone. Here's those original shorts that we put on a couple weeks ago up at 640. So that's definitely still on the table. We could easily get a rally up into here, which, sadly, might still validate the bot setup. That could still potentially play out. I'll run some lines later on. And then on the other side, we've got this trend line here, which is support. So, if we start slipping through here, we start giving up these key lows, 603, definitely a lot of impetus for the market to crank down here. Again, some people sit and go, okay, I expect the market to do this. I expect the market to do that. Frankly, I don't know what the market's going to do. Market's going to do any old damn thing it wants. And my job as a trader is just to identify setups. And if a setup that's in my trading plan comes along, then I'm expected to take it. I suppose you could argue, and I sort of tweeted the other day, Sunday evening, Monday morning, that 611.34 was an OTE sweet spot on, and that was heading into this London kill zone the other day. And I had suggested, watch this London-New York action to see how it acts through the kill zones, especially since that was a weekend. Then it turns out that, this is what we call trying to catch a falling knife, where you basically just try and grab it as it hits the OTE and then reverse. And I also was joking with people in the chat that this is Mountain Man's trade here. Just buy the 61.8 and don't even think twice about it. And sure enough, it looks like that trade has worked so far, eh? So that's basically what I see here. I don't see any trading plan setups that follow my trading plan. I do see that there have been some, blind OTE trades setups here. But even if you had bought at 618, here we are at 611. Here we are at 618. You're up $7, and it's awfully tough if you're trading just a few coins to make money off of those kind of moves. So that sort of reiterates in my mind why I like trading off of these higher time frames, because you get bigger moves, which equate to bigger dollars and cents for you and I in our pockets. All right, so I think that basically summarizes today. We're in the summer doldrums. I think we're still very comfortably within this $100 price range. I don't really have any clear setups in place. I mean, I suppose you could argue you might get a little bullish breakout here. We got a number of key highs, and if you wanted to, you could risk it right against these lows. This is not a trading plan in my trading plan. It's not a setup in my trading plan, so I won't be taking it. Really, right now, for a guy like me, it's just to hurry up and cool your jets. And I'd like to see a little bit more I don't know, clear direction from the market before I start, spending money in earnest. So that's basically the summary for today. I guess we'll just finish off with a notion that we've got the site up and running now, and lots of people are signing up for the daily blog and the RI Crypto Live Room. So we're working on that content, but basically the daily blog is updated every day. School is basically in session. We've got 2 full classes going, so we're super stoked about that. I mean, everything's just rocking and rolling. Julian did an excellent job getting this site up and running, and it looks pretty darn good. I mean, I have to admit, it's sort of serving its purpose, and it's nice and clean, and hopefully you guys appreciate this, because it's good quality content, and I hope you like it. All right, that's it for today. Have yourselves an awesome summer day. Again, get out there and enjoy the nice weather. I don't see a lot going on in Bitcoin land right now, but you never know. Maybe she'll be breaking out and running shortly. All right, talk to you soon. Have a great day, and bye for now.